recorded here live at the Hilton Richmond downtown. We are on the panel with our phenomenal sponsors in the audience, as well as the Firecracker ladies here on the panel. I'm your QB star, Mallory. We've got our referee who's back from her vacation, Danielle Fitzhugh. Danielle looking tan, honey.
Shout out to Texas.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lisa's neck of the woods. The stars. Yeah, I put my Carolina Panthers neck pillow.
Yay! And then right next to her, we've got our power forward, Dr. Danny, who's getting ready for her trip. Doc, how are you feeling? Getting excited?
Hot, you feeling hot?
For Puerto Rico, you sent me a message about Puerto Rico.
I
So
did.
I said,
I did.
Okay.
So leave that message off air.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Then we have our designated hitter, honey, who has a quite fabulous new dude, Miss Lisa Tommy. How are ya?
I'm doing great.
Looking
I feel
fabulous.
like a new woman.
You do.
That's what I told my husband.
Are you still rooting for those Yankees? Same old
Hot.
girl.
Now hold
Same
on.
old girl,
We're
man.
getting started. You were my friend.
Lisa, that's the Shania Twain song.
That's right.
And Lisa, who did your hair?
Oh, shout out to the unbelievable people at Bombshell Salons. I've been going to them for 15 years when I was like 5. And, and Tara, who does my hair, we decided to go back to kind of similar to what I used to be as a child.
It's your
Brown.
fall.
It's my fall.
It is fall.
Yes.
You're getting ready for like pumpkin spice.
Yeah, and
It's your
football.
fall. Yeah.
It's fall. I mean, we all have to enjoy
Pumpkin
the fall
spice.
series.
Pumpkin spice and football.
All right.
Oh, perfect.
Spice is her name now. Pumpkin spice.
I'm so sorry.
I love it. I love it, pumpkin spice.
And then right next to me, we've got our coach, Steph B, who is dressed for the airport and can leave any minute now. How are you feeling,
Lily
child?
Pulitzer feel. But still, I don't care. I might look like a lady, but it's still Stephen A. in a dress.
Okay, here it is. Exactly.
Get ready, baby.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, before we get started, let us know how you guys feel about us on Instagram at Women Speaking Sports RVA and Facebook. You can also find us on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM Friday mornings at 6 a.m. and The Choice Tuesday afternoons on 105.3 FM The Choice. We've got to show some love to our sponsors, the Hilton, Crystal Clear Financial Solutions, Core Mortgage, Intrepid Impact with Jerry Howard, Synergy Technical, Capital Ale House, Fast Signs, NFL Freddie Berry, all under the production of Mike King Biz.
And we have a new cover photo of us.
Yes, we do.
We gotta thank the photographer Ryan and pronounce it
Ryan
right.
Asia.
Asia.
Thank
Pronounce
you,
it
Ryan
right.
Asia Photography. He
Made us
just
look good.
made
Yeah,
It
it
looked good.
You know, he just brought out the better. I mean, we're already good.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah, we
made
are.
us look even better.
I liked it.
We did.
And he did. So thank you, Ryan, for capturing the beauty with all the ladies that we have. All right, all right, all right. So, ladies, we got to talk about it because we got to talk about our queen. The queen, the goat, our personal goat, since Carrie's not here, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So she can't talk
No
about
Tom
Tom
Brady.
Brady. Okay.
We have a lot to talk about MIA Tom Brady.
Yeah, we do. We're going to go back today.
But let's talk about
injuries.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Ooh, child.
Go ahead.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and talk about Serena Williams, who won her first match 6-3 in the U.S. Open. She's moving to the next round Wednesday tonight, and is playing again at 7.
Can I just say, I hope everybody watched the incredible tribute to her afterwards.
Absolutely.
Because that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And rightly so.
It
She
was.
deserved every minute.
Well,
Yeah.
I was stuck
Go ahead.
on the entrance. I thought the
Oh,
entrance
so
was
powerful.
fabulous with her cape.
With
and
the
her-
train.
Yeah.
With her train, with her shoe, her signature shoes.
Diamond
And her
encrusted shoes.
jewelry.
Right.
And I mean, that's right. Come out looking fabulous and finish up with a double.
And her
Yeah,
machine
she
in the
conquered.
stand,
She
complimenting
did.
her
Well, you
love.
know, her cape, the bottom of her cape was 6 layers to represent her 6 wins.
It was actually her dress was supposed to be. She
took
just
the layers off. She said it was
too heavy. She said it was too heavy.
Yes.
You know what because Gail King started talking to her about, do you regret taking the opportunity to retire? You look so good out here and everything. When I was watching her, I was like, they really should appreciate what she's doing, because you really do have to think about the fact that we talked about it before, when you think about the sports that have a lot of development, right? You can pick up certain sports later in life. Tennis is not one of those that you can wait until you're a teenager to start. And so here is this woman who, played through pregnancy, has a child, she's been playing this sport since she was a teenager, and as I was watching her, she looks like a woman. When you think about it, she doesn't look like a young, nubile athlete. You're looking at a woman who has a great athletic body, but you can see that she is dealing with all the mommy stuff.
Yeah.
And I loved that element of it, because it really says that when someone is well trained, age doesn't matter. Their body may look differently than it did at 17, but the performance level is still going to be the same. So that excited me to see, this real human being, even the way her she's not popping into the cat suits like she used to. Now
but shout out to
she's
the
doing
girl
her thing.
award.
Yes. And so I like that whole aesthetic. But I did wonder how people are going to take the celebration, because I think they're saying there may be something else during the tournament. So do you think it was a little bit premature to have that type of thing?
She didn't
during
owe
the
the
tournament?
media any celebration, right? So
They gave it to her.
the media has been tough on her, especially in the early years.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching some early interviews that she did, and I mean, the media was relentless about giving her praise. And
Yeah.
she killed in a match. The question was, you looked a little too strong. They didn't say anything about your testing before the game. And, she's having to defend
Yeah.
that
When
she
she's
took her,
celebrating.
she took all of her tests. She's never taken steroids or performance enhancement drugs, and she performs because she works hard. That's why she performs so strong. And they were showing an older interview where it was a match out of the country, so the time changed. The interview was at 11:30 at night, and so she might not have been her fresh poppin' self.
I mean, who is, right?
Yes.
Right.
And she had to defend how come she wasn't media ready. And she's like, because it's 11:30 at night and I'm tired.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
Oh, yes, and I guess I also wanna say something else, because I think even her sister was asked, are you retiring or are you preparing to retire? She said, I'll let you know. And I think another question was asked of her, Venus this week too, they asked her, well, what keeps you going? She said 3 letters, W-I-N. So I'm just saying, they may be hit with tough questions. And I think Serena was always, even leading into this, they talked about the fact that she had, I think she was out in the first round of the last 2 match tournaments that she was in. But she's never lost in round 1 of the US Open.
Right.
And so her
It's
record
also
is
the first place she
untarnished.
won, I mean.
Exactly. And so I guess what I'm saying is that even though they may get some tough questions or some tough things thrown at them that other people don't have to deal with, I've seen them shine through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
We
think
talked about it in football, about some of the players and needing to have media handlers almost.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they were amazing.
they were
Amazing.
Mom and Dad did a great job.
Yeah, yeah, and ultimately, it will come down to, I don't want people to be disappointed if she doesn't go all the way, because this woman has achieved something that in the modern era has not been done.
Right.
And so I want to see her get that, break that record that was created before the majors were situated this way. But if she does it, this has been a stellar career.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
has been
it's not just a
career.
stellar tennis career. I think that there will be, I'm sure there will be some argument about it, but there are going to be people who say, of all professional sports, she is the GOAT. I mean, when you look at her performance over the time, what she's done, you find a way to normalize it, whether it's football or basketball, and she stands out. I mean, even when she was in her low, she still won more games than anybody else.
Yeah, it's
So-
420 matches
Exactly.
and only lost 120. If she was a pitcher, you wouldn't want to pull her off the mat.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, always bet on black is what you can say about Serena, because she's gonna perform.
Yeah.
So you say what you want about her, she's coming out there to put on a show. And something that I read in that Globe article I thought was interesting was when she said, that losing for her is very personal. And so when she goes out there, she is consistently looking for the way to win. And, someone mentioned to me in another conversation earlier this week that she is not a gracious loser. And I was like, I don't know many champions that
No competitor.
I don't know what
sport.
losing graciously is
What it looks
Yeah.
like.
it's supposed to look
You
like
didn't
for
play
everyone
good
else.
enough.
Right.
That's what it means. You
Yeah.
didn't play good enough.
And Danielle, I kind of want to hop on your point where you're talking about how the media was always so sharp on her. When I was looking at the television for the ceremony after the match, one of the things I noticed was Serena's mom's body language. She did not want to be a part. She didn't want to be.
Yeah, she kept trying to step out of the
She didn't
frame.
want to be on camera. She didn't want any pictures. I think, I'm not a mom, but all of you all can attest. When someone is attacking your child, like the media has done so many times, I can only imagine the discomfort and that she's feeling while she's on the
I
court.
was thinking about that song, Mike Jones. You used to hate me, but now you come on, yeah. And her whole family was criticized, not just the girls.
Right.
And so I have to say this because this is an outtake.
Right.
So I saw a clip of Mary J. Blige getting an award from Billboard. And she talked about her career. She got the Icon Award.
Yeah, that was a great speech.
Did you see that?
I did.
And she said something in there that to me brought me back to how they used to attack those girls. She said, no matter where I am and how far I've come, she said, I am still ghetto fabulous.
Yes,
Yeah.
And so when I remember those girls playing with their beads and all of that stuff, they got criticized for not looking like, even when, her physique, when Serena's physique was maturing, she was
Her
so
outfits were too tight.
Yes.
And too snug on her black curves.
I'm glad that what did, Frank's,
Sinatra. They did it their way.
Of course, with the
But yeah, they did do it their way. I think one thing I noticed that at the end of it all is there was still this moment where it almost seemed like she was so surprised to be getting this level of accolade. She said she didn't expect it. And you want athletes who are really performing to feel it in the moment.
Right.
It's like anything else. Give people their flowers when they're present.
Right.
Reward them for their hard work, for their effort, and things like that. I think it's something that maybe at some point, not just the media, because media is always going to do what media does, right?
They need a storm.
But I think even with the fans and everything, you're sad to see her go. There was lots of opportunity to be supportive, and think about that with the next athletes that come through. That they're not always going to give you a winning day. They're not always going to be the most gracious. People have their moments. They're still humans. But reward them for the winning and the effort and the hard work. Because it was almost kind of sad to see her look shocked that people love her that
Well,
much,
she's had
you
to
know.
fight for that urn.
Yeah.
I'm having a Sealy color purple moment.
oh my God. Shout out to Coco.
Yes.
Shout out to her. She's playing right now.
Yeah.
She was winning when we were last in here. So, and Coco said that she told an interesting story that one of the very first paid gigs she got was playing Serena's double in a commercial. She played a young Serena and she said, I don't think Serena even remembers that, but she talks about how motivating it is. And then someone asked her, do you feel different? You're young, you look different. And she said, I never felt different because the champ always looked like me. And that to me is everything.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't looking at Navratilova, she wasn't looking at Graf, she wasn't looking at, you can name any of the Russian players that were getting a lot of highlight and attention. She was looking at Serena and Venus, And she said, no, you think I'm different, but I look like the champ, so what does that say about the rest of you?
Did you
Yes.
see how many of her wins came from where she was playing against her sister? I saw at least 3 of them.
Yeah.
And it was like Venus versus Serena.
Right.
Venus
Yeah,
versus,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
when you number 1 and number 2 in the world,
Yeah.
that's hot.
And
Yeah.
how fun,
Holiday
right?
dinner life.
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, they have always said, I want to win, but at the end, when the match is over, this is my sister.
Yeah.
And you always saw that. I think there's a lot to be said for individuals who also are that talented. But I think Venus knew, because Serena was sitting in the stands, and there was a time where she said that, she was watching her win all the time, and she said that was how she was learning. She would watch when she would win and when she would lose, and how she would lose, so that she can incorporate that into her game. So she said, I learned how to win from my sister. That's high praise.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the icing on the cake this year too is that don't they get to play doubles?
They
They
do.
do.
Yeah.
Like a wild
Thursday,
card, I
I
believe,
believe,
right?
yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah. Now, shout out to USTA because that wild card match is Monday.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
even if
That's
that's
the
the highest
it's Monday.
viewed, probably of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although,
Oh,
a
yeah.
front row seat to see Serena the other night was 90 grand.
What?
I mean,
Yes.
it was star-studded.
It was star-studded.
Oh, yeah, they were out there.
Before we leave doubles, let's also not forget that Coco is the youngest ranked #1 doubles player ever.
I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait.
I
You know,
I'm very excited
I
to watch
love
her
seeing
career.
her play. The thing is, Serena's gonna retire. Who we root for next? You always
Well,
want to see who's up next.
it's Naomi Osaka, right?
Yeah.
She's out, but she's back. I saw that glimmer, I saw that hunger, and so I'm looking for what she'll continue to do now that she feels mentally well.
Right.
She did compete very well.
Oh,
She
yeah.
did.
And I love just the diversity in the sport, that you just
Me
haven't
too. Yeah.
necessarily seen.
Yeah.
And so
And any
just to
other
have
sport, really,
Yeah.
honestly.
Coco make that statement that the winner looked like me, the
Yeah.
champ looked like me.
She's never lived in a time where the champ didn't look
Right.
like her.
That's exactly
Which
right.
also makes you realize how long Serena's been playing.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Right.
When you look at it, it's astonishing.
24 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we just had, and
Yeah.
maybe we can talk about it in the second half, we just had a volleyball incident between Duke and BYU.
Mhm.
over-
And that's a representation issue.
And that's a representation issue, it's a leadership issue.
Call it ref.
Right?
Call the game, you know,
Yeah.
take
The
the
ref is
kids,
down there ready to
you
do
know,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
put
yeah.
your kids on the bus and go home.
Yeah.
So, I think the fact
How
that,
do you handle that as a parent? I know I'm one of you.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
How does anybody, I
Yeah.
don't care who you are, how do you tolerate that? I don't care either side. How do you tolerate that?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, you
no
know,
matter who
we,
you traveled with that day,
Exactly.
Right.
that was unacceptable.
yeah, we have, I mean, my son played volleyball his senior year, we had an issue at a school, at a high school.
Yeah.
We called it that night, we called it the next day.
Mhm.
I mean, we were furious.
Yeah.
And now, what I did is I did something different, because we're a multicultural household. I had my husband be in front of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there you go.
So, that's what I did.
Yeah.
So, you know, but not every house is a multicultural household, so you don't have that avenue.
Right.
So I don't wanna be the one calling the car just because it affects me. I said, I put George in front of it, and I said, it affects you.
Yeah. It's everybody.
And he was, you know, he was furious and championing, and he was,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
mostly
He's
laid
a
back.
Central graduate, so.
But, you know, but it leaves an impression on you. So, you know, his girlfriend goes to that school, he wouldn't go to the prom at that
Yeah.
school, for her at that school. He's like, go with your friends.
Well, and when I think that situation, what really bothered me is something that Lisa was actually talking to me about is the intangibles of coaching, right? The intangibles of being coached by the right individual or being
For him,
developed
his
by the
coach
right
called.
individual.
So that
But
was
in,
good.
in
And
regard to
this- yeah.
the Duke situation, which is a national situation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for the individuals who are there calling themselves leadership, whether it's the coaches, the refs, or any other adult in the room that's directly connected to what's happening in the match, it's problematic that,
The athletic director.
The
was in-
athletic-
was
that they
in-
don't
Even a
say
fan,
coaches
were in
even
the
a fan,
room.
no matter what side you're on, I mean, how is that acceptable to sit there
It's
and
not.
tolerate that? It's
but then
not
I think
acceptable.
the other thing is, when going back to the development piece, I have to trust you to travel with these athletes. You know, college athletes go through a lot. We talk about it all the time. You know, before NIL, a lot of them were, and even during this NIL phase, a lot of them will still be struggling to, you know, find food to eat when the mess hall or whatever they call when the cafeteria closes.
Right.
Well, you know,
The mess hall.
I'm so happy, I'm so happy I didn't meal plan.
Yeah,
What you do.
Right, but even then, you know, they eat on the meal plan, but they're big people. You
Yeah.
know, they're athletes, they're burning calories. When they leave, they have to eat. A lot of these kids are not making money
The
on
dining hall, like you said, is closed after
Closed.
practice, because you can practice
There-
at 10
the
o'clock.
NCAA has made changes. My
Yeah,
they have.
daughter benefited from
Yeah.
that, such that they have funds that they give them and they're able to.
Everybody
to
gets a
have
stipend.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a stipend.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
always.
So they also-
This was in the 90s and we got stipends.
Right, right, right.
The point is not that the stipends exist. They are still very minimal. And my ultimate point is these kids are invested in them in their own development and growth. If a parent is entrusting this child to you and they don't live down the street, you're the new parent. The coach is the new parent.
That's right.
You know, they are in the sense of they are there to protect your child. Now, if you want to send your child off with someone that you don't trust to be by their side and protect, hey, good money. But for me, if my child is going away to play a sport somewhere and I'm not available, and you're the leadership, you're the adult figure in her or his life at that moment, how could you tolerate that? How could you stand to see someone speaking out of turn to them in a way that is harmful? How could you not be a part of maintaining what is their emotional and mental wellness
That's right.
under your care?
If they're
No.
young adults,
Right.
they are young
Right.
adults.
Because if that child got hurt with you, in the sense of, you know,
You'd be in the
injury,
waiting room.
the same parents are like, they would be right there waiting, like,
Right.
what happened?
Right.
Well, in all of the areas, once a coach, and you know, shout out old school coach Sam Retigliano, used to coach the Cleveland Browns, went on to coach multiple colleges, including Liberty University. And I can remember his very specific engagement with his athletes. And he was like, listen, you don't have, these were young, you know, LU at the time, predominantly black football team in a predominantly white town. His thing to them was,
And a racist
you
institution.
are, well, yeah, and he would always say, your parents are not here. Your parents, they've entrusted me to you.
That's right.
Right.
And so anything other
It's a
than,
privilege I didn't give
It
him to you.
well, right.
So make me take it back.
Right, that's exactly right. And so I think with the Duke situation, I get past the fans because they don't have a responsibility, they have a human responsibility, but we walk in a world with lots of human things happen.
That's right, but the
But the coach
had
had a,
responsibility.
yes, he had
Well,
a
I mean, we
responsibility.
do know that it just doesn't stop at that level. I was just looking up on her device about, you know, is it Rudy? That's how you say it, right?
Yes.
He came back and apologized. Basically, he's trying to look for a job.
Mhm.
Some people feel that he should be forgiven, and other people say forgive him, but don't give him a job. I mean,
That John Gruden shouldn't coach again?
yeah, most
Well,
people
I
are
don't know if
saying
I agree with that.
most people are saying no. Most people are saying forgive him, but his capacity should not be in. You know, I listened to Keyshawn this morning, and he was pretty aggressive about it. So it doesn't just stop on the collegiate level of where you're dealing with issues. It travels with them, and most of the communications that are at issue were a long time ago.
Yeah, they really were.
But it was a lot of
But it
them.
was a lot,
He
right,
didn't leave
exactly,
anybody unturned.
No.
It wasn't just,
Right.
you know, the African Americans. It wasn't just women. It wasn't just gays. I mean, it was everybody.
Everybody.
So there you go. Gruden is just an overly offensive dude. I mean, it wasn't like he
Who's gonna play for him? You just talked about.
I'm not saying he should be coaching. I just don't know. You know, my beef with Gruden began when he came to Tampa Bay and won with Tony Dungy, but we'll talk about another
I
time.
feel you on
Um,
that.
That's thing got personal.
They ran the man out of town in the middle of the night. They
I know,
didn't
I
give him a
like
job.
Tony
He did
Dungy.
not have a Serena moment.
Yeah, he put his squad together, just
Yeah.
like, you know how I feel about that basketball team out west.
You know,
Yeah.
I just, the thing with Gruden is this: there are too many talented, available coaches for mistakes like that to be made now because you're too easily replaced.
So then the question is, there were other people who were in those communications. Who's next to get fired?
Who's next? And we're gonna have to stop right there. We're gonna have to go to the locker room chat.
Oh.
We're gonna have to commercial break. We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to take a little break. We're gonna take a little break. But look, ladies, I'm gonna go ahead and give the audience a little bit more information. But while I'm talking to them, I want you all to think about one word of how Serena has made you feel to close out the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on Women Speaking Sports RVA on Instagram and Facebook, ESPN Richmond, and The Choice. We want to show love to our sponsors once again: Hilton, Crystal Clear Financial Solutions, Core Mortgage, Intrepid Impact with Jerry Howard, Synergy Technical, Capital Ale House, Fast Signs, NFL Freddie Berry, all under the production of Mike King Biz. Danielle, I'd like to start with you. What's one word that you could describe that Serena Williams has made you feel?
I'm gonna say inspired. I mean, the years are tracking up. She's in fantastic shape. Steffi just talked about that. And I mean, just the mental and physical health that she's maintained through her career. I can't wait to see what's next for her and her ventures that she touches. But I would say inspired.
Absolutely. Dr. Danny?
There's so many words, but I settled on enough, right? I think about how authentically she has represented our culture, her sport, her talents and abilities, and particularly to be at the age that she is, to be a mother, to still be out there and able to perform. It's enough.
Lisa?
I was gonna say inspired, but then I changed my mind and thought groundbreaker. In so many ways, not just in race, but in beauty and fashion and what we look at as a different type of beauty and what standards that are.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
she just nailed it big time. And so she's inspiring, yes, but I think she's groundbreaking.
That'd be a nice Nike t-shirt. Serena nailed it.
Yeah.
She
Are
really
you
did.
listening?
Steph?
I would say determined. I think that's the thing that really I found most inspirational about her is her level of determination. It's hard to play when you are in a national stage. You're not necessarily the most loved. It's hard to push through and be a winner when you're in a space where other people are rooting for someone else. I mean, she's played on American soil, and they have rooted for her competitor who was European.
Right.
That sheer determination, and then coming from where they come from, and the type of family. I mean, you're the baby of all of these women. You've got to be heard in the mix, and the fact that she's done that and put a stamp on it, determination is it for me.
That's good. When I think about it, I think of the word grace. I think a lot of people, when you hear the word grace, really think of kind of sweet, quiet. But I think she's given the word grace a whole new meaning of how she stands strong, stands on her own.
Yeah, strength and power.
Yeah, exactly. Has come through so many trials and tribulations, and those trials and tribulations have been on the forefront of the media, like we talked about. But she's handled every situation with such grace.
Yeah,
I really do.
absolutely.
All right, we'll be right back.
Recording.